The holographic auction chamber held the breath of a dozen species. Every bid had been astronomical until this one.
800 million. 60 days. This is either a miracle or a suicide note.
Madam Premier, we guarantee success. Read the contract. Liberation Logistics LLC doesn't fail.
Catherine's legal aides hissed warnings, unfamiliar human contract language, liability clauses that made them nervous. But Sirena 3 had been bleeding for 30 years.
30 years of Krell boots on our throats. If there's even a chance this human crew can free our world, I will sign.
Her palm pressed the scanner. The contract locked. Liberation Logistics LLC now owned the promise of a planet.
Pleasure doing business, Premier. We'll see you on your home soil in 60 days.
What have I done?
The contract was sealed. The lowest bid in galactic history had just bought a war, and no one, not even the humans, knew how it would end. Excerpt from Terran Commercial Code, Clause 14, Subsection C. Successful execution before deadline shall entitle the contractor. Aboard the battered Terran cruiser Liberator, Ryan gathered his crew in the cramped bridge. No speeches, no ceremony, only the weight of an impossible contract.
Krell Occupation Grid, 3 capital ships, 9 orbital platforms, 60,000 ground troops, against 1 cruiser and 6 of us.
And the second lowest bid was 47 trillion. We left a lot of money on the table, boss. Or rather, we didn't even touch the table.
I like the optimism. 6 people to liberate a planet. What's next? Buy the Krell Navy with a coupon?
Focus. Krell infrastructure is archaic but brutal. I've mapped 17 points of failure in their network. If we hit them right, they won't know what's happening.
Ryan let the banter run its course. The crew was sharp, sharper than any fleet. But the room was thick with unspoken doubt.
We didn't just bid low. We bid to win. And we will. Sirena 3 is a pressure point. Crack it, and the Krell fold. That contract isn't a gamble. It's a scalpel.
A scalpel? Or a deed written in blood and fine print?
The Liberator's engines burned cold as she slipped out of the asteroid field. In 60 days, an entire world would change hands, and nobody yet understood the price.
Premier Catherine signed because she was out of options. She didn't read the whole thing. That was her first mistake.
The Liberator emerged from FTL at the edge of Sirena 3's gravity well. Krell patrols swarmed in slow, predictable arcs, a steel net around a caged world.
Cloak engaged. Refractive layer is holding to their sensors. We're just background radiation and a bad dream.
The cruiser shimmered and vanished. She slipped through the orbital net like a rumor, descending into the atmosphere toward the northern continent's forested expanse.
Setting us down in that clearing? No landing lights, no beacon. Just me, a tree canopy, and a prayer. Hold on to something.
The Liberator settled with a soft hiss, hidden under a cathedral of alien trees. The team moved quickly, leaving only silence. An hour's trek brought them to a crumbling pre-Krell structure. Inside, a handful of armed aliens eyed them with suspicion worn sharp by years of betrayal.
Liberation Logistics LLC. Premier Catherine sent us. You wanted your planet back. We're the delivery service.
The Resistance leader's reply was a bitter laugh. 6 humans. The Krell hunt us for sport, and you offer a delivery?
We can make your occupation expensive. Every patrol, every supply run, every breath they take on your world. Give us 40 days, and the Krell will be a bad memory.
A fragile agreement, sealed with no trust and a shared enemy. The Liberator crew had their foothold, and 40 days to turn a laugh into liberation. Over 3 nights, Liberation Logistics turned occupation infrastructure into a weapon. Power grids flickered, supply convoys vanished, comms filled with static and dread.
Virus is in. Krell logistics are Swiss cheese. They'll be eating ration bars by week's end.
The Krell response arrived with cold precision. Governor Vorak's face filled every public screen, his voice a low rumble of fury. By decree, 10 civilians shall be executed each hour until the saboteurs surrender themselves.
Ryan, you are losing the people's will. The executions are destroying everything we've built.
Every execution buys us something. The people will see it when the occupation cracks.
The Resistance fighters saw only their families' faces on the execution list. The safe house grew quieter each night.
What happens when there's no one left to liberate? You promised us hope, not a massacre.
We don't stop. We just make them pay more. For every civilian they kill, we cost them a battalion.
Ryan cut the channel. Outside, rain washed ash from a burning depot. The crew's hands were bloodied now, and the hardest choices still lay ahead. Ryan gathered the team in the damp bunker. Bleeding civilians demanded a new approach, one the Krell could not silence.
We have been hitting them in the dark, now we hit them in the light. Show everyone their crimes. The occupation ends when the people stop obeying.
Mara hijacked the planetary broadcast system. Vorak's face vanished, replaced by footage of his executions and a human voice.
Today they kill one. Tomorrow we all stop working. Soon the Krell will find no food, no fuel, no willing hands. Withdraw your compliance.
The broadcast spread through factories and streets. Workers stopped, not with violence but with a silence that choked the occupation. Resistance cells handed out aid in broad daylight. Krell patrols hesitated, surrounded by a people no longer afraid.
Factories empty, ports stalled, Krell manifest shows 0 load deliveries. They are paralyzed, Ryan.
The resistance leader's voice broke as he relayed the news. The capital has gone silent. They are listening. Governor Vorak pulled troops from outer districts to hold the city center. The net was thinning. The crew had traded sabotage for a weapon no fleet could counter, a planet that refused to cooperate. Under cover of the uprising, Ryan's team slipped into the capital's power core, a labyrinth of humming conduits and uneasy silence.
This is too quiet. Krell know we're here. The core diagnostics are wrong. There's something extra on the bus.
Her fingers found the charge hidden behind a coolant manifold, a countdown already ticking. 42 seconds.
42 seconds. This isn't standard. It's rigged to vaporize 5 city blocks if we trip it.
They're coming up the east stairwell. I'll hold them. You disarm that thing, Mara, now.
Jax's rifle lit the corridor. A plasma bolt seared through his leg, but he kept firing, cursing the Krell with every shot.
Hold the line. She'll get it, Lena. Get ready with evac. No one dies today.
Mara's hands danced over Krell wiring, cutting and rerouting with desperate precision. The timer hit single digits.
Got it. Core stable, but Jax is down bad. We need a medic now.
Ryan hauled Jax's arm over his shoulder, blood mixing with engine grease. The trap was broken, but the price was a friend's shattered leg. With Jax evacuated and the power core under resistance control, the remaining crew moved on the Krell Governance Palace, a spire of obsidian hatred looming over the capital.
Palace shields are military grade, but my virus ate their authentication 2 hours ago. Give me 60 seconds.
Exactly 58 seconds later, the shields died with a low thrum. Ryan's team breached through a service entrance, moving fast and silent.
Security grid is blind. I've got eyes on Vorak. He's heading for a private shuttle in the east hangar.
Cut him off. He doesn't leave this rock.
They cornered Governor Vorak in his own throne room, a relic of conquered kings. His elite guard fell in seconds, leaving the towering reptilian alone.
You are only humans, a handful of vermin. The galaxy will remember this insult.
Exactly. And we just took your planet. Drop the weapon.
Vorak saw no path. With a guttural snarl, he cast the weapon aside and knelt, touching his crest to the cold stone floor. Vorak's surrender order echoed across every Krell channel. Across the planet, garrison after garrison laid down their arms. 30 years of occupation, broken in 31 days. Premier Catherine stepped off the shuttle into a city that remembered how to cheer. Confetti of shredded occupation decrees rained down. Sirena 3 had its sky back.
Our long nightmare ends today. We are free because the people of Sirena 3 never stopped hoping, and because Liberation Logistics LLC fought as if this was their world too.
Ryan, Lena, and Mara watched from a stone balcony patched with carbon score. 41 days of guerrilla war had hollowed their eyes. The applause below felt distant.
I should go over the contract one more time. There were clauses my gut didn't like during the bid, and my gut is rarely wrong.
She pulled the signed document onto her tablet. Payment schedules, liability limits, salvage rights, the dry language of Terran commercial code.
Wait. Clause 14, subsection C. I don't remember this wording. It reads like a property deed.
Read it aloud.
Clause 14, subsection C. In the event of successful execution prior to the contractual deadline, the contractor shall be entitled to proprietary participation in the liberated territory proportional to the difference between the winning bid and the second lowest bid.
The clause landed with the weight of a planet. Proprietary participation. Liberation Logistics didn't just free Sirena 3, they'd been deeded a piece of it.
Proportional to the difference. The second bid was 47 trillion. This isn't a contract. It's a planet-sized landmine.
Lena didn't sleep. By the dim glow of her tablet, she cross-referenced the clause against Terran corporate law, bid archives, and the precise definition of proprietary participation.
The second lowest bid was 47 trillion, not million trillion. This clause was written for exactly this scenario.
Her fingers moved with mechanical precision, pulling the numbers into a formula. The calculation was elegant and merciless.
If I'm right, the difference divided by the second bid. No, it can't be.
The result flared on her screen, 99.8%. Liberation Logistics LLC owned nearly the entire planet.
Ryan, you need to see this. Now.
Ryan entered, still in half armor, the fatigue of battle replaced by the sharp focus of a man who sensed profit.
What's the problem?
The contract. Clause 14C. We didn't just win the war. We bought the planet with a legal loophole. We own 99.8% of Sirena 3.
Well, that's a hell of a bonus.
Ryan, this will make us villains across the galaxy. We liberated them only to own them. The PR fallout could destroy our reputation.
We're businessmen, not saints. We followed the contract to the letter. They signed it. Catherine signed it.
But they'll never trust humans again. Every future deal will be met with suspicion. Is that the legacy we want?
Legacy is how you manage the aftermath. I want Catherine as governor. She keeps the people calm. We keep the profits.
A governorship could work. It gives them a face they know, while we control the assets. I'll draft the terms.
Good. We'll announce it at the victory ceremony. The entire galaxy will be watching. It has to look like a partnership.
A partnership where one side holds all the cards. You can't dress up a corporate takeover.
They'll just learn to read the fine print. That's the real lesson here. We gave them a planet. Now we collect the bill.
The debate faded into grim acceptance. Lena drafted the governorship contract, while Ryan quietly reviewed the rollout for the ceremony. Outside the bunker, construction crews were already raising the stage where Catherine would learn her world had new owners. The plaza of Sirena 3 had not seen such a crowd in a generation. Veterans of the Resistance stood shoulder to shoulder with families who would never again bow to a Krell overseer.
We remember the darkness, but today we embrace the light. Liberation Logistics LLC will forever be heroes of Sirena 3.
The applause rolled like thunder, but for Ryan's crew it sounded like the last seconds before a drop. They stood in a tight knot, the contract burning a hole in Lena's tablet. Ryan stepped forward as the ovation began to fade. The weight of the moment settled on the plaza like a held breath.
Premier Catherine, people of Sirena 3, you honored us with your trust, and we honored our commitment.
The crowd nodded, some cheering softly. Catherine smiled, unaware that the ground beneath her was already shifting.
However, before we close this chapter, there is a contractual detail that requires reading into the public record.
A murmur rippled through the plaza. Catherine's smile flickered, her brow furrowing. The legal aides in the front row suddenly looked like they'd swallowed ice.
It concerns Clause 14, subsection C of the original contract, which was signed by Premier Catherine's own hand.
The plaza fell utterly silent. The only sound was the snap of the corporate flag in the wind and the quiet hum of a planet holding its breath. Ryan lifted the contract high, the clause projecting in holographic text behind him. His voice cut through the silence like a blade.
Clause 14, subsection C. In the event of successful execution prior to the contractual deadline, The contractor shall be entitled to proprietary participation, proportional to the difference between the winning bid and the second lowest bid.
At Lena's command, the plaza screens erupted with the bid archive. 800 million against 47 trillion. The arithmetic was merciless. The calculation resolved on every screen simultaneously. 99.8% Liberation Logistics LLC. The air left the plaza.
You manipulated the bidding. This is not liberation, it's theft under the color of a contract.
You signed it, Premier. Every clause, every page. We executed the contract to the letter. The math is clear.
Catherine staggered as though struck, the silver pins in her hair catching the light of her own downfall. The crowd became a beast about to roar. Ryan raised a hand for silence, then extended a fresh tablet toward Catherine, a new contract, drafted with cold efficiency.
Governorship, full regional authority, keep order, and we build a Serena 3 that prospers. This planet needs you.
Catherine stared at the tablet, the weight of exile and hope pressing on her fingers. The galaxy watched, holding its breath. Catherine's legal aides scoured their own copies of the contract, their faces collapsing. They looked at her and nodded. There was no escape. The clause was binding under galactic commercial law.
I signed their contract in desperation. Now they offer me a chain of gold, refuse, and my people burn again.
With a shuddering breath, she pressed her palm to the scanner. The governorship contract locked with a chime that echoed across the silent plaza.
I accept as your governor.
Ryan nodded to Lena. Behind the stage, a new flag rose beside the planetary standard, corporate blue and silver, the logo of Liberation Logistics stark against the morning sky. The fabric snapped in the wind, a stylized key and balanced scales. A new chapter had begun, written in fine print and fire. Some in the crowd wept, others turned their backs, but no one threw a stone. Order held, for now. Catherine stood alone at the podium, her title now a caller, but her people were alive, and the streets were quiet. The Liberators' engines idled in the background, a permanent fixture in the plaza now. Liberation Logistics had landed, and they weren't leaving.
And now the real business begins.
The contract, it is ironclad. A Terran company has legally purchased 99.8% of Serena 3 through a bidding technicality. The broadcast reached 43 spacefaring civilizations within an hour. Governments froze. Corporations scrambled. We must negotiate a new standard. This corporate fine print loophole threatens the stability of all interstellar governance. Legal scholars cross-checked the Terran Commercial Code. The clause was unassailable. Liberation Logistics had weaponized paperwork.
We just read what we sign. It's not our fault the rest of the galaxy runs on honor and handshakes.
Public opinion splintered. Some celebrated the audacity, most recoiled. Humanity's reputation shifted overnight.
I am the face of a corporate colony now, but the children are eating and the schools are open.
Ryan's desk lit up with angry communiques from 24 alien governments. He archived them without reading. The Galactic Council tabled an emergency resolution. All future pacts with human entities must be vetted by an interstellar oversight bureau. The vote was delayed. Across 100 worlds, legal teams began rewriting contracts with humans. The fine print had become a weapon of mass acquisition. On Serena 3, the transition was swift and impersonal. Corporate efficiency officers replaced resistance commanders. Catherine learned their language.
6-page requisition for medical supplies. Under the Krell, we stole what we needed. Now I need 3 signatures.
Reconstruction accelerated. A new school rose from the rubble, clean, stark, functional. Children who had known only war now played under Terran-funded arches.
They are fed. They are safe. I sold our sovereignty for full stomachs and unbroken bones.
At the plaza, the Liberator hummed with pre-launch energy. Ryan stood at the boarding ramp, taking a last look at their corporate flag snapping in the wind.
Keep it running, Governor.
Safe skies, Captain.
The Liberator lifted off, a weathered predator leaving its kill. Sirena 3 functioned now, a corporate holding with a beating heart.
Better a corporate governor than another occupation. For now.
The Liberator vanished into the black. Behind it, a planet ran on spreadsheets, and the galaxy had learned a new word: human. Months later, contract law became the most lucrative profession across 40 systems. Alien students packed lecture halls to learn what no academy had taught. Today's course: Terran commercial clause structures. Fail this, and your government may be next, echoed through the halls.
I traded a cage for a collar, but my people breathe.
Across the void, humanity's stock had never been higher and never more feared. Every sentient being now checked the fine print twice. A new industry boomed. Human contract lawyers, charging fortunes to parse Terran legalese. Governments paid for fear of a footnote. The Galactic Council's emergency resolution still hung in deadlock. But the message was clear: learn human law, or lose your sovereignty. In the end, humanity's greatest weapon wasn't its guns, it was the footnote. On Sirena 3, a new sun rose each morning over the corporate flag, and a people who had once been slaves now held a different kind of chain written in ink.
This is not freedom, but it is peace.
And across the galaxy, the footnote grew longer. A month later, a faint distress call reached the Liberator. A human colony on Viridia 2 was under attack by Krell remnant forces, the last gasp of a broken empire.
My leg's still healing, but I can fly us in. Krell leftovers aren't going to kill more humans on my watch.
It's a trap, or a distraction. The galaxy's watching us now. Every move we make is propaganda for anti-human factions.
Or a contract. Viridia 2's local government is offering 20 billion credits and mineral rights for eviction. We don't turn down easy money.
Easy? You want to fight Krell again? But now the entire galaxy will frame it as human aggression. We'll lose the fragile goodwill we have.
Goodwill doesn't pay for fuel. We're a corporation. We solve problems with force and fine print. This is who we are.
Then let's be who we are. But we do it smart. No civilian casualties, no orbital bombardment. Clean up.
Agreed, Lena. Draft the contract with the biggest goddamn clause 14C you can write. If we're going to be villains, let's be the richest villains in history.
The Liberator's engines roared to life. A new war, a new contract, a new planet waiting for the fine print.
We're not liberators anymore. We're an empire in waiting.
The Liberator dropped out of FTL above Viridia 2. Smoke columns rose from the colony below, Krell fighters swarming like carrion birds.
They're already torching the eastern settlement. Dropping us into the main square. Mara, you've got 60 seconds to knock out their air cover.
Jamming now. Their comms are scrambled, targeting is blind. Go!
The Liberator plunged through the atmosphere, its hull sparking with anti-air fire. In the colony square, Krell troops turned to face the new threat.
Lena, you're on Overwatch. Jax, keep us steady. I'm taking the ground team.
In 30 minutes, the Krell commander knelt in the same square his troops had burned. Ryan's rifle never wavered.
You cannot be everywhere, human. Your kind will pay for this humiliation.
Send the bill to your government. Liberation Logistics LLC now owns this contract.
Hours later, in a secure office, a trembling Viridian official reviewed the eviction contract. Clause 14C was already highlighted, the lawyer's signature.
And so it spreads. We're not mercenaries. We're a legal epidemic.
In the Viridian capital, Premier Cattell touched the display with a shaking hand. The contract sealed before the last Krell body was cold. We have no choice. The Krell would return. Your corporation is our only shield. Premier Cattell's voice cracked through the comm.
Standard eviction contract with our special clause. You get protection, we get the mineral rights, and 99.8% of strategic assets.
We've become the landlord of the void. Liberation Logistics is no longer a company. It's a government.
Does it matter? We're keeping humans safe and getting paid. Better us than some alien warlord.
Ryan's smile didn't reach his eyes. The pattern was set. A new planet, a new contract, another fine print conquest.
Where does it end, Ryan? When we own every world? Who polices us then?
We police ourselves, that's the point. We're not conquerors, we're contractors. They sign, we deliver.
The Liberator exited Viridian space, leaving behind a grateful colony that had unknowingly signed away its future.
And one day, we'll sign away our own.
By the third jump, the Liberators' comms were a flood of desperate contracts. 47 worlds begged for human intervention, each waving the same poisoned pen.
Listen to this. We offer exclusive mining rights to the entire asteroid belt for protection. They're practically begging us to own them.
Good. Accept them all. Spread the flag. Liberation logistics becomes indispensable. Every signed sheet is a vote against human extinction.
A vote against extinction? We're making them sign away their children's future. This isn't protection, it's annexation by fine print.
Lena, they're alive because of us. Would you rather the Krell still rule them? We're the least bad option.
We're the only option. And as long as that's true, we write the rules. Lena, if you can't stomach business, stay in your cabin.
Lena retreated to her cabin. The hum of the engines was a quiet accusation. Her fingers found the tablet and the encrypted channel she'd never used.
Galactic Council Oversight Bureau, if I send this, I betray my crew. If I don't, I betray everything I used to believe.
She didn't press it, not yet, but the seed of mutiny had been planted, and it would grow in the dark between jumps. Outside, the Liberator's hull reflected the light of a new star and the first of its new colonies. On Serena 3, Catherine sat alone in her office as dusk settled. The day's last contract, a trade agreement with a neighboring system, glowed unsigned on her desk. Outside her window, children laughed in the schoolyard built on Liberation logistics credits. The sound was a strange currency, one she had learned to accept. In the Galactic Council, the emergency resolution had stalled for the 48th session. No species could agree on a treaty that limited human commerce without starting a war.
37 new contracts this quarter. We're more successful than most governments.
The aliens call us the fine print empire now. I kind of like it.
And one day, they'll find a footnote strong enough to hang us all.
The Liberator sailed on, a temple of fine print, carrying 6 humans who had turned a war into a corporate charter. And across 100 worlds, the phrase "read the contract" had become the most terrifying words in any language. Sirena 3's sun rose once more over the plaza, the corporate flag snapping beside the planetary standard, permanent as the stars. The fine print had become the front line, and the war for the galaxy would be fought one subsection at a time. In the years that followed, children on a dozen worlds learned to spell claws before they learned freedom.
I gave up a crown for a ledger, but the ledgers keep the lights on.
The Galactic Council finally passed the Human Commerce Standardization Act, a toothless resolution that required all contracts to be translated into at least 4 languages. The loophole remained. The Liberator became a ghost story. A ship that appeared, won a war, and left behind a contract instead of a flag.
Another distress call, another desperate government. Lena, draft the usual terms.
Already done. Clause 14C is preloaded.
The engines hummed. The cycle continued. On Earth, a new museum wing was dedicated to the corporate era. The centerpiece was a replica of the original Sirena 3 contract. An alien child pointed at the tiny text of Clause 14C and asked his father, "What does that mean?" The father had no answer. Somewhere in the void, Ryan Cade smiled. The fine print had won.